Hey guys, Coach Jason here. Today's video is how do you get to how do you achieve a sub 30-minute 10K race, okay? Which is 4:48 per mile, okay? I have other training videos. I just released a sub 40-minute 10K and I released a sub 35-minute 10K. If you want detailed training programs for either one, take a look at them, subscribe to my channel, and press the bell next to the subscribe button so that you not only know when I post new videos, I post them new every week, but you have access to my other ones. I've got detailed 5K training programs, sub 18, sub 17, sub 16, sub 15, 12-week detailed programs, day by day, week by week. I have sub 4 hours, sub 3:30, sub 3 hours, sub 2:30 marathon programs, sub 2 hours, sub 145, sub 130, sub 115, half marathon training programs. They're all detailed, they're all on my channel, and they're all laid out from beginning to end. So if you're going to watch them, I encourage you to watch them from the start to the end. Don't just watch the first minute, you're going to miss a lot. Don't just watch the last minute, you're going to miss a ton. I would rather you be over-prepared than under-prepared. And one of the things that I've done is over my 20 plus years as a former competitive athlete, as a coach, I've not only learned from some of the best coaches in the world, studied, learning physiology and the science behind coaching, having, good interaction, being able to coach women and men, male and females, and having developed my own kind of training philosophy over the course of the years. But I had to learn the hard way, for a lot of things. So I want to give back to you guys as much as possible so you don't have to learn the hard way. All right. So with that said, if you want to check out any of my other videos, click that subscribe button and you'll have access to all of them immediately for free, obviously. So let's get to this. It's a 12-week training program designed towards going under 30 minutes for a 10K. So if it's either you or you're a coach and you have athletes and you want a program that you can take a look at or maybe follow or kind of modify into your own, take a look at this program. It's laid out in great detail. I'm going to explain everything and the reason why I do the reason why I have it laid out as such. I have it in 3 blocks of 4 weeks for periodization purposes. Since it takes the body 21 to 28 days to adapt to a training stimuli, I have it in that way. So you can have 4 blocks of 3 weeks each as well. So it's completely up to you as a coach. But either way, it's up to you as an athlete or a coach to lay out the training any way you want. And I also have a 5K and 10K workouts video. I have dozens of workouts specifically for those events. So take a look at that video as well. So let's get right into this. And by the way, before I start, you'll see a progression in training from my sub 40 to my sub 35 to my sub 30. There's a lot of similarities, but you will see a progression of the things that are most important, the long runs, the workouts, the way things are laid out. You will notice some similarities and you will notice the progression. So let's get to it. Week 1, 6 miles easy on Monday. My Mondays are always constant, especially if you're a coach, beginner or experienced. That's my personal opinion. If you're especially if you're high school or college level, there's always, especially the first month of the year where things get they're getting used to that workload again. Things can be a little bit stressful and tiring. I like to kind of keep Monday easy, so to allow people to kind of start their week off a little bit more comfortably. Even if you add strength or core or whatnot, I generally like Tuesday, Friday workouts and a Tuesday workout of a race week. But again, you lay things out the way you feel is most important to you. But that's kind of how I have it laid out here. So Mondays is easy 6 miles. Tuesday, 3-mile warm-up drills and strides. D/S is drills and strides. A 2-mile up-tempo run. Now, there are 3 different paces that I have. Up-tempo, tempo, and threshold. Okay, your tempo run is your tempo run pace. And if you want to know how to set the right training paces for a sub 30 10K, look at my video on how to set the right training paces and look at my video on the 1-mile time trial, which kind of helps you determine your fitness and where you are to help you get to this point. Okay. But the up-tempo run is about 15 to 20 seconds per mile slower than your tempo pace. What it does is it gets your heart rate up and then allows you to transition to the meat of the workout without having to use 20% of the workout to kind of figure out your rhythm and your pace or whatever you're doing. This allows you to elevate your heart rate and then get into the workout to get a little bit of a better stimuli. So that's the logic behind it. So after 2 miles up-tempo, 5-minute of active recovery, then 10 by 400 meter uphill runs. The focus is leaning into the hill while staying upright, pumping your arms, lifting your knees. Think about maintaining the same rhythm going up the hill as you would on the flat. Even though it'll be slower, that's fine. The goal is to maintain the same running rhythm and good cadence. Okay? You jog down equal for recovery. You lean into the hill as well so that you're perpendicular to the hill what it does is it takes stress off your joints like your Achilles and your lower back and other areas, your knees. It makes it a little bit less stressful on the joints when you're leaning to the hill instead of leaning back, trying to use your body as a braking mechanism. Cool down 3 miles afterward. 12 miles, that's a semi-long run. I incorporate that in there as well. Or if you're at the point where you're either doubling, doing 2 a days, or have your athletes doing 2 days, really depends on the cutoff on where you want to do that starting in the volume. And I have another video as well on how to lay out your training, based on the volume you're running. And I go all the way from 20 miles all the way up to 100. And when you start doubles and so on. So there's an option here. 12 miles or 5 in the morning or 8 in the afternoon. Which is 13 miles, but that's okay. It's in 2 pieces, and then 5 by 100 meter strides afterward. It really depends on your preferences and the availability of yourself and your athletes, the environment, the lifestyle, class schedule. I mean, those things have to be taken into consideration. So 9 miles on Friday. 9 miles on Thursday. Friday, warm up 3 miles, drills and strides. Now here's another component. 2 by 200 meter efforts at tempo pace, okay? Whatever your prescribed tempo pace is for that day. And again, you're not starting at your tempo run based on a 30-minute 10K here. Your goal is to build towards the right paces to get you there towards the end of the season. The last thing you want to do is be there too early and then not be there when you need it the most at the end, okay? So again, 2 by 200 meter efforts at tempo, jog equal recovery. It helps you settle into the pace that you're about to run for 7 miles, for a 7-mile tempo. And again, if that's too long, you kind of work your way towards it. And you'll see the progression as well on my other 10K videos. It goes from 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 and so on. So 2 by 2s at tempo pace. Get that pace into your legs, jog equal. Then a 7-mile tempo run at the prescribed pace, okay, so that you're not having to use the first mile or so to figure out the pace or the lock into the pace. That's what it does, so you get the full benefit of the tempo run as well. Take 4 minutes active recovery afterward, then a 3 by 300 meter efforts on the back end with a 100 meter jog at 3K pace. 3-mile cool down. Long run, 14, 15 miles rolling on Saturday, 4 miles easy on Sunday. Week 2, 6 miles on Monday. That's a constant. Monday's going to be a constant easy day. All 6 miles. Tuesday, 3-mile warm-up drills and strides, 2 miles up tempo again. Okay, then 5 minutes of active recovery. The recovery part's always going to be active. Get to keep the heart rate up. Just stay moving. And then 2 miles at your current 10K pace or current 10K fitness, whatever that is. Then you rest 4 to 5 minutes of active recovery, and then 8 by 400 meters with a 100 meter jog at 5K pace, current 5K pace. 3-mile cool down. 12 miles on Wednesday or 5 and 8, depending on, again, your preferences. And then 4 by 150s on the back end, jog equal recovery. 9 miles Thursday, Friday, 3-mile warm-up, drills and strides, 2 by 200 meter at threshold pace now, okay? This is the pace that's slightly faster than tempo, but again, you lock into that pace before you start the workout. And in this case, it's 9 times 1,000, okay? With a minute recovery at threshold pace. Okay, it's a lot different than 9 times 1,000 at 10K goal race pace with 3-minute recovery. This does not take as long to recover from, and you have a similar aerobic benefit. It's more non-invasive. You can come back sooner for another workout or a race. 5 by 50 meter strides afterward, 3-mile cool down. Okay, long run, 14, 15 miles, rolling on Saturday, off day on Sunday. I have an off day plugged in every other week. Keep in mind too, before I go further, this is contingent upon you having run prior to this for 6 to 8 or 10 weeks. This is not starting from scratch and going right into this. And if you also have, let's say you're in college and you have a junior, and I mentioned this in another video, who's just starting to run, well, obviously they're not going to be training at this level. They should be training at the freshman people's level and building up towards everybody else. Your training age has to be considered as well as your chronological age. I mean, obviously your regular age. But training age is very important. The idea is to keep people healthy. Okay? So, back to it. Week 3, 6 miles Monday. Warm up 3 miles, drills and strides on Tuesday. 2 miles up tempo again. Get that heart rate up. Okay, and then take a 5-minute active recovery. Then 10 by 400 meter uphill runs, just like this one. But now on the back end, we've added 3 by 400 meters on the flat with a 200 meter jog at 5K current pace. Okay, 3-mile cool down. Just gets you back into flat running accelerations after being on the hills. Get you back into flats. Okay. Again, 12 on Wednesday or 5 and 8. Thursday, 9 miles, 5 by 200 meter efforts with a 100 meter jog at 3K pace. 6 miles on Friday. Saturday, this is the first race, okay? And for a 10K, I generally recommend 3 to 4 races, okay? With the goal 10K being the 4th race, okay? So in this case, it's warm-up 3 drills and strides, a 5K race, then a cool down of 4 miles on the back end for a total of 10 for the day. Let's see where you're at, and let's see how to modify your training paces moving forward to help you get here, okay? Let's see how close you are or how far you are. This will give us our first bit of data, first bit of information. I would also encourage you to take mile splits if you can. If you're the coach, take the mile splits of your athletes so you can see whether people get slower, whether people get faster, and so on. People maintain. That's good data because it helps you kind of modify training appropriately as well. 14 to 15 miles on Sunday, rolling for the long run. Week 4, 6 miles on Monday, 3-mile warm-up drills and strides Tuesday, 2 miles of up-tempo again, 5-minute active recovery. Now we're going to do 2 miles at your current 10K fitness again, then 4 to 5 minutes of active recovery, but now we're going to do 10 by 400 meters instead of 8. We're adding 2 reps. 10 by 400s with a 100-meter jog at your 5K, your current 5K pace. 3-mile cool down. 12 miles again on Wednesday or 5 and 8. And then on the back end, 4 by 200 meters with a 200-meter jog at mile pace or 3K to mile pace. 9 miles Thursday. Friday, 3-mile warm-up drills and strides, 2 by 200 meters at tempo, jog equal recovery, get that pace in the legs. Then we're adding a half mile to the tempo, 7.5 miles. Now, if you start at 5, maybe it's 5.5. You start at 6, maybe it's 6.5. Again, see how you've been progressing all along and how your athletes are progressing all along and the type of volume that you administer for your tempo runs and kind of work from there, okay? 7.5 mile tempo run, take about 3 to 4 minutes on the back end, and then 3 by 450s with a jog equal recovery, 3-mile cool down. That gets your legs turning over after being fatigued for running an extended period of time. It's important to be able to get to the point where you're running at least 10K or longer so that you know what it feels like to run hard for 6 consecutive miles to stimulate the race as best you can. Anything after that is kind of money in the bank. You know, that's what I call, you know, your office time, or that's kind of separates the good from the great. You know, because people tend to, especially when you go in college, going from 8K to 10K, that's dreadful, that extra 2K. The things that you do, you know, beyond 10K is kind of money in the bank. That'll separate you from some of the other people. That's what's going to get you over the hump, okay? So just to keep in mind, just keep that in mind, okay? 14 to 15 miles rolling, long run on Saturday, off day again on Sunday. So you see consistent easy days. You see the long run, consistent distance, okay? We've done some tempos and we've done some hills, okay? This is the first cycle. Started to incorporate a little threshold running, okay? And you see an off day every other week, okay? The bottom line is if you're, and I say this in all my videos, if you're training and recovering consistently and appropriately at the same time, you don't need to make drastic changes towards the end, hoping for some miracle peak. There's no magic workout. It doesn't happen. It's consistent training over an extended period of time. That's it. It's gradual progression. That's it. Okay, and this you'll notice a pattern from now. When I take this down, okay, and then you'll notice some similarities and some distances on the next one. Okay, helps transition you into the next block of training. Okay, helps introduce another training stimuli here. Week 5, 6 miles Monday. Tuesday, 3-mile warm-up drills and strides. 3 miles of up-tempo running, so we've added a mile to the up-tempo, okay? Then a 5-minute active recovery. Now we're going to do 4 by 800-meter efforts with a 2-minute recovery at 5K pace. You go from current to goal, which is totally fine. And the goal, it'll be the goal 5K pace, which is whatever that is equivalent to the sub 30-minute 10K, okay? And then after the 4 by 800s, do 8 by 200-meter uphill runs on the back end. So we cut the hill in half. But it gets you running hills when the legs are already fatigued. So instead of flat running after the hills, now we're doing hill running after the flats. Okay. So again, 4 by 800, 2-minute recovery at 5K pace, then 8 by 200-meter uphill runs, jog equal recovery, same focus, 3-mile cool down. Okay. 12 miles or 5 and 8 on Wednesday, and then a 250, 200, 150, 150-meter acceleration, jog equal recovery, progressively get faster, no specific time. Go by feel, just work on turnover, okay? 9 miles Thursday. Friday, 3 miles, warm-up, drills and strides. 2 by 200-meter efforts at threshold, okay? Now we're bumping up the threshold reps. So instead of thousands, we're going 8 by 1200 meter now with a 75-second recovery at the same threshold pace you were running at the 1,000 for the thousands. Same pace, but more time in the threshold zone, okay? So it's a boost. That's how we progress to fitness, okay? And then after the last one, we're going to run 1 by 1200 meter effort at your goal 10K pace, okay? To see how well you hold on that pace or execute that pace while you're fatigued towards the end of that 10K. It'll give us an idea of where you're at. 3-mile cool down. Now we bump the long run up a little bit, okay? Long run, 15, 16 miles now instead of 14, 15. Just added a mile to it for this cycle. 4 miles easy on Saturday. Week 6, 6 miles on Monday. Tuesday, 3-mile warm-up drills and strides, 3 miles up tempo again. 5-minute active recovery. Now we're going to do 2 miles at your current 10K pace. Take a 4-minute recovery. And then we're going to run 8 by 500 meters, okay? And with a 100-meter jog at current 5K to goal 5K pace. Gradually work your way throughout the reps. 3-mile cool down on the back end. Again, Wednesday's the same, 12 or 5 and 8. Thursday, 9 miles, 4 by progression 150s with a jog equal recovery. Progression 150s, you float for 50, you stride for 50, you sprint for 50. It gets you used to changing gears that last 150 meters of a race, where you start your kick and then you kick a little further, you kick a little further, okay, or a little faster. 5 miles easy on Friday. Saturday, race number 2, okay? Warm up 3 miles. There's a 10K race if you can find one, or a 10-mile race if there's no 10K race available. If there are neither one available, I would encourage you to do a 10K time trial, okay? We'll see where you're at halfway through. It'll give us an idea of how you progress from the 5K 3 weeks prior and what we need to do in the next 6 weeks to get you to the goal of the sub-30 10K. 3-mile cool down. Off day on Sunday, okay? Week 7, 6 miles on Monday. Tuesday, 3-mile warm-up drills and strides. 3 miles up tempo. 3-minute of active recovery now instead of 5. Then we'll do 5. Actually, no, let's stick to 5-minute active recovery. Actually, stick to it. Excuse me, my apologies. Now we're going from 4 by 800 meters to 5 by 800. We're adding an 800 meter rep. So 5 by 800 meters with a 2-minute recovery at your 5K pace. Again, progress from current to goal. Okay. Then 10 by 200 meter uphill runs on the back end instead of 8. So we added 2 hill runs again. Same focus. Okay, jog equal down recovery. Make sure you're perpendicular coming down as well, but focus on accelerating up those hills. And the 200 meter uphills will be slightly faster than the 400 meter uphills because they're shorter. 3-mile cool down. Again, Wednesday's the same, 12 or 5 and 8, but on the back end, 6 by 200 meters at 3K pace. Just good rhythm running. Jog equal recovery. 9 miles Thursday. Friday, 3-mile warm-up drills and strides, 2 by 200 meter efforts at tempo, and then we're adding a half mile again to the tempo for an 8-mile tempo run. Okay, 5 minutes of active recovery. Remember, the tempo run is probably going to be good, at least 30 seconds slower per mile than your actual race pace, so you should be able to manage upwards of 8 miles, or at least 6, working towards maybe 8. 5 minutes of active recovery, and then on the back end, 200, a 150, 100, and a 50 meter acceleration. Jog equal recovery. Just focus on good turnover. We took away that 250 from that one. Okay. 3-mile cool down. Long run again, 15, 16 miles rolling. 4 miles on Saturday, then 4 miles easy on Sunday. Week 8, 6 miles Monday. Tuesday, warm up 3 miles, drills and strides. 3 miles of up-tempo running again. 5 minutes of active recovery. Then we're going to do 2 miles at your goal 10K pace now, not your current. Okay, current here, goal here. 4 minutes of active recovery, and then we're going to do 7 times 600, okay, with a 200 meter jog at 5K pace. Again, current to goal progression. 3-mile cool down. You'll see a progression from my sub 40 to my sub 35 with regards to the 400s and the 500s and the 600s. They kind of get a little bit more as you kind of progress and get more experience and more fit. Okay. 12 miles on Wednesday, or 5 and 8, okay? And then 4 by 300 meter efforts with a 100 meter jog at 3K down to mile pace. 9 miles Thursday. Friday, warm up 3 miles, drills and strides, 2 by 200 meter at threshold, jog equal recovery. Then we're doing 6 times a mile with 90 seconds recovery at the same threshold pace you ran the 1000s and the 1200s, but spending more time in the threshold zone. Okay, I'm giving you six miles of total threshold running. And then on the back end, we're going to run 1 by 600 meter effort hard to simulate kicking out from 600 meters. 3 mile cool down. Long run 15, 16 rolling on Saturday, off day on Sunday. So this block, we added to the long run. We've incorporated a little bit more race pace stuff in there, some more aggressive speed development component. We started infusing race pace with threshold, race pace with tempo run. Okay, a little bit of transition stuff, and we reverse flat and hills with hills and flat, or the other way around actually, hills and flat with flat and hills. And these are good. These 800 meter efforts at 5K pace will be really good, really good work. And it's also good to be able to execute 5K and 10K workouts, whether you're training for a 5K or a 10K. Okay, they complement each other very, very well. There's a lot of similarities. So that's this cycle. Now let's get down to the last 4 weeks. That was generally the more robust cycle. This is going to be the more, we're going to be mostly transitioning to get you ready for that race. Because like I said before, the idea is to have you have about a 6 to 8 week block of peak fitness, and we want that to be the last 6 to 8 weeks of the cycle instead of the first 6 to 8 weeks, especially if you're training on a team at the high school collegiate level. Your championships come towards the end. You want to be at your best when it counts the most. If you execute your goal early on, okay, but we want to make sure that we're not compromising the rest of the season while we do that. Okay, so week 9, 6 miles Monday. Tuesday, 3 mile warm-up drills and strides. 2 by 200 meter at tempo with a jog equal recovery. Now, if you see my other workouts, I progress from basically 1,400 to 1,200, 600. Now this one's going to be mile 800, mile 800, mile 800, mile 800. 4 of each with a 400 meter jog in between each effort. The mile reps are going to be at 10K pace. The 800 meter efforts at 5K pace. This is a really good way of simulating changing the pace throughout the race. You know, people throwing in surges. So sometimes people surge for 50 meters. Sometimes they'll surge for 800 meters. So this is a good way of incorporating pace changes while not going any slower than your 10K pace. Okay? And then 400 meter jog after each one, like I said, and it totals 6 miles of running. Then a 3 mile cool down. Wednesday, same 12 or 5 and 8. Thursday, 9 miles, 5 by 200 meter efforts at 3K to mile pace. Just nice rhythm work. Friday, 6 miles. Saturday, this is the race 3. Warm up 3 miles, drills and strides. Either a 1,500 or a mile race if it's available. And if it's not, then maybe a 3K race or a 2 mile race. Okay, if that's available. If none of those are available, let's do a time trial of a 3K or a time trial of a mile, whichever you prefer. I do have a 1 mile time trial video, which helps determine your kind of ability levels for longer races and shorter races, which might be a good thing to follow, or a 3K race as well. You can use something like the Daniels running formula or the running calculator to determine how close you are to your goal 10K based on what you've done for the mile or the 3K or the 2 mile. So completely up to you. So I would encourage you to do either one. 3 mile cool down. Long run 14, 15 miles rolling. We cut that back a mile now. I'm not waiting until the last week to just scale everything back. Big time, okay? Like I said, the 4-week block. Okay, I want to make sure that this 4-week is a little bit of a step down from volume so that you get used to the lower volume and a little bit more intense workouts, okay? So that's rolling on Sunday. Week 10, 6 miles Monday. 3 mile warm-up drills and strides on Tuesday. 2 by 200 meter efforts at tempo, jog equal. Okay, then we're going to run 2 miles at your goal 10K pace, okay? Then take about 8 minutes of active recovery, and then we're going to do 3 times a mile at sub 10K, sub goal 10K, so about 5 minutes per mile faster than your goal pace per mile than 448. So these would be about 443-ish, 444-ish, okay? With a 3-minute recovery after each one, 3 mile cool down. Wednesday's the same, 12 or 5 and 8. Thursday, 9 miles, 6 by 100 meter strides, just by field jog equal. Friday, 3 mile warm-up drills and strides, 2 by 200 meter efforts at threshold. Okay, just lock into that pace, jog equal like usual. Now we're going to do 5 times 2K. This is going to be your last long threshold workout. Same total volume as the 6 times a mile, actually a little bit more. This 10K worth of volume at threshold pace with a 90-second to a 2-minute recovery, whichever you feel is most appropriate based on how people are progressing or you're progressing. or 145. Since I've added 15 seconds every time I've gone up in rep, you can do that as well. But that's generally the range to keep it at threshold. Okay, and remember the pace for the threshold is slower than race pace, but it's faster than tempo pace. So 5x2K, and then 5x50 meter strides on the back end. Just turn over when you're fatigued. 3 mile cool down. 14, 15 rolling miles on Saturday for your long run. Sunday's an off day. Week 11, we're almost there. 6 miles on Monday. Tuesday, 3 mile warm-up drills and strides. 2 miles at your goal 10K pace. Okay, and let's actually do 2x200. My apologies, I didn't put it in there. 2x200 meter efforts at tempo. Okay, jog equal recovery just to get the legs moving a little bit, get the heart rate up. Then 2 miles at your goal 10K pace with an 8-minute recovery, just like here. But now we're going to do 2 times a mile instead of 3 at slightly faster than you did these the week before. So let's get close to 440 now for these. With a 3-minute recovery, just 2 of them. And then on the back end, we're going to run an 800 meter effort at 5K to 3K at 3K pace. So now we're looking at, closer to 218 to 215, something like that. 3 mile cool down, just one of those 800s. 11 miles on Wednesday, so we cut that back just a mile, the intermediate run. No double, cut the double away now. 5x50 meter strides, okay? Let's focus on getting some extra recovery these last 2 weeks, some extra rest, okay? 9 miles on Friday, 9 miles on Thursday. Friday, 3 mile warm-up drills and strides, 2x200 meters at tempo, jog equal recovery. 14 by 400 meter efforts at 5K pace, just rhythm work. Okay, 45-second recovery. That'll also give you a good indicator of your 5K fitness as well. It'll tell you how close you might be to the 10K based on what you're estimated to be running a 5K. So it's a nice workout. 3 mile cool down. Long run 12 miles. We cut that long run back since it's the last long run prior to the race. And we scale that back, rolling or flat. It's up to you. Easy 5 miles on Sunday. Race week, baby. Week 12. 6 miles on Monday, the norm. Tuesday, 3 mile warm-up drills and strides, 2x200 meter efforts at threshold. Jog equal recovery, lock into the pace. This one, we scale it back significantly. It's 5 times 1,000 with a minute recovery at threshold pace. The same pace that you ran the 9 earlier, the 10 earlier. Just cutting it back to 5 now. The hay's in the barn. All the work is done. We're just keeping you in the rhythm of going hard every couple of days, okay, or semi-hard. So again, 5 times 1,000 with a minute recovery at threshold. Then on the back end, 1 by 400 meter hard effort to simulate kicking from 400 meters out. 3 mile cool down. 9 miles on Wednesday, we scale that back. Since I like to do an off day on Sunday, but I generally, and I'll explain to you why, I'm plugging in an off day on Thursday here, and I'll tell you why in a second. Not only is it 2 days prior to the race, I generally don't like giving the day off the day before race because it can throw your legs off rhythm, okay? Which is why I have it here. And then a 4 mile easy run on Friday. Then Saturday, 3 mile warm up, drills and strides, your goal 10K race. It's go time. Then a 3 mile cool down. And the reason why I don't have the off day here, especially if you achieve your goal, your legs are going to be a little bit heavy. You'll have a little bit of junk in them. It's good to do a shakeout the day after and then take off a week or so afterward, however you like to do, take time off after a season. And that's how I have it laid out. That's why I have the off day here. That's why I have the easy shakeout day there. Okay. So last 4 weeks, we kind of transitioned more into a little bit more race pace stuff. We laid back the volume just a tad bit, not much. Okay. And ran a third race. This gives us an idea of where your estimated fitness is at, and we try to simulate the race as much as possible. Okay. So I hope you find this helpful. If you do, please click the like button. If you have any comments or insights of your own, leave them in the comments down below. I respond to all comments. I want to give back as much as I possibly can. The sport was so great to me, and I want to give as much as I've learned. I want to share with you guys. I want to serve you guys as well as I can. If you find something helpful here, fantastic. If you have any ideas of your own that you think that might be a good idea for me to consider, put them in the comments. If you like these videos and want to see other ones, click that subscribe button and click the bell next to it so that you know anytime I post a new one. It just shows that you feel that, to me, that you feel the content's valuable and helpful. And if you know somebody who might benefit from this, feel free to share any of my videos with anybody. Okay, it could help you, it could help your friends, it could help your family, it could help other coaches. I want to try to get this out to as many people as possible, so as many people know. And there's not really many other detailed training programs on YouTube of this significance for so many events, for so many timetables that I have on my channel. So I want to be as detailed as possible. That's where my channel is a little bit unique. And I'm going to continue to put out detailed training programs and as much detail as I possibly can. So hopefully it's more helpful for you and your fellow coaches and fellow athletes. So I hope you like this. Hope it was enjoyable. If you my Instagram running page, my Instagram page actually is Black Belt Running Coach. I put running content on there as well. And my personal email is blackbeltrunningcoach@gmail.com. If you need any personalized coaching or have any personalized questions, feel free to reach out. I'll be more than happy to help out. Have a great season. Enjoy good health. I'll talk to you next time.